Smiley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Monday, September 5th. So today we have the moon in Capricorn, which is going to ground us out. It brings us back down to earth a little bit. Whatever ideas, whatever kind of thoughts that popped into our head, new situations and scenarios unfolded over the last couple of days with the moon in Sagittarius, of course, reaching that first quarter moon in Sag on Saturday. We are definitely taking those thoughts and ideas, those big dreams, that big vision, that big hype, the confidence, the enthusiasm, and we are bringing it back down to earth. We are coming into our physical bodies. We are focused on our physical circumstances. And this Capricorn energy, which is the great manifester of the zodiac, earth energy, bossed up, has the skills, has the talents, has the means in order to actually bring things to life. We're focused on our goals. We're focused on our ambitions, but we're also heavily focused on the roles and responsibilities and commitments that we've already made. So with the moon in Capricorn, we tend to be a little bit serious, a little bit somber, because again, we have to clean up the mess of the past or of the present before we can get started on building towards those future goals. And because this Capricorn energy kind of brings us back down to earth a tad, we tend to tap into the negative narrative sometimes that negative Nancy and Betty the bully can pull out on us as we are trying to kind of push ourselves forward, to be confident, to be optimistic, to get our hustle going, to push us to that next level. We can have that negative narrative kick in and try to hold us back. Today we have 14 different aspects taking place, which means that it's relatively busy day in the cosmos. We have Venus moving out of Leo energy into Virgo energy. Check out that astro forecast if you haven't already. And other than the moon, Venus is the one who's kind of on the stage and in the spotlight here today as she moves into this Virgo energy and as she makes some very interesting aspects with some of the other planets. So diving right in, shortly after midnight, we do have Venus moving into Virgo. This is going to add to the earth energy that we're already deeply sitting in with being in Virgo season anyways. Venus in Virgo, if you listen to the ascension forecast for the week or the astro forecast that I put out for Venus moving into Virgo, we will know that we are going to get a little bit down to earth and practical with the way that we look at ourselves, our worth, our value, the way that we're looking at our relationships, the way that we take care of other people and ourselves. And in the long run, Venus moving into Virgo is the perfect timing, the perfect setup as we move into a week where Mercury will be going retrograde just before the full moon in Pisces, which is bringing full circle a deep level spiritual healing. So we got Venus in Virgo, the body, the heart and the body. We got Mercury going retrograde in Libra at the end of the week, which is the mind and the relationships. And then we have the full moon in Pisces, the emotions and the soul. So we definitely are in for a little bit of a bumpy week. Please check out the ascension forecast if you haven't already for the details on what it is that we can expect. The moon is going to bump into Uranus, who is retrograde in Taurus energy. So the moon in Capricorn, earth energy. Uranus retrograde in Taurus, earth energy. This is definitely going to create a little bit of confusion, a little bit of seriousness, a little bit of somberness, and illuminate for us where it is that we feel trapped, held back, restricted, either by our daily routines, our relationships, or our money matters. Keep in mind, Uranus being retrograde in Taurus energy is supposed to be highlighting exactly that, where it is that we feel blocked, where it is that we feel and fear change coming at us, and highlighting for us where it is that we're overly attached to keeping things the same old, even though we have a desire to explore new paths, new directions, new dreams, and new goals. The moon is going to semi-square Saturn. Saturn rules over this Capricorn energy, and a semi-square is a little bit of a tension point. So we're definitely feeling the weight, the heaviness of the roles and responsibilities of our lives on our shoulders, but for good reason. Saturn, being in a retrograde in Aquarian energy, is trying to highlight for us where it is that we got to kind of stop doing what we think other people want us to do and start doing what is best for us. Realizing that when we put ourselves first and operate from a full cup, then everybody around us actually benefits more from us being at our best selves than they would at us doing things basically because we think that they want us to do things, and then grow a little bit of guilt and resentment because, of course, we're not doing what we want. We're doing what we think everybody else wants us to do. So the moon semi-squaring Saturn is going to highlight for us where it is that we are kind of feeling held back, restricted, where it is that maybe some roles and responsibilities and commitments that we've made are becoming a little bit too much of a task and chore for us in our lives, where it is that, you know what, maybe we have to take a good look at readjusting, again, retrograde, readjusting, revising, re-editing our roles and responsibilities and what actually needs our time, attention, and focus. Now, Venus is going to bump into Jupiter in a very positive way. This is the first aspect that Venus in Virgo is going to make. And of course, with Jupiter, who is all about growth and improvement, expansion, who is also retrograde in Aries, just wants us to kind of grow now, improve now, take action now. We do have to calm down that impulsiveness just a tad, but this is going to help us move inward because Jupiter, of course, wants us to rewind to April and May of this year, where it is that we kind of cut off from the pain, from the trauma of Jupiter being in that Piscean energy for a very long time, kind of really bringing up a lot of pain and trauma and suffering for us. We cut that off. We cut the cord off. We jumped into this Aries energy. We didn't want to look back anymore. We wanted to jump into something new. We made huge amounts of growth. We just kind of hit the ground running. And now that Jupiter is retrograde, we're going to have to reflect back to that time to see how much growth did happen, what we were able to improve, where it is we did have to change our beliefs. And because Venus is now in Virgo, very focused on the logical, practical observations of taking care of ourselves and taking care of those that we love, we may have to stop and see where it is that we do have to kind of focus on growing the health and wellness within ourselves, improving our routines, our daily lives in order to make sure that we are operating from a state of wholeness. And of course, Venus, being the goddess of relationships as well, she wants nothing more than to take care of those that she loves. But this Virgo energy is an earth energy that slows this fire energy of Aries down. Now, this, luckily for us, is a positive aspect, which means that there's likely going to be an aha moment on what it is that we need to initiate from here as far as routines, healthy habits, ways that we can make time for ourselves, ways that we can make time for other people, really getting down and analyzing the nitty-gritty on where it is that we have to improve taking care of ourselves and taking care of other people. Now, the moon has something to say about this, comes in and squares, gets into the boxing ring with Jupiter right after. Now, this is going to create a conflict, mostly because the moon in Capricorn needs us to slow down and think long-term of a plan on how we're going to grow. Where's the strategy at? How are we going to, execute this plan so that we actually see growth and goals and ambitions and dreams come to life? And Jupiter is over here just magnifying the impulse of just wanting to act now and think later. And we can't do that. We're in the year of 6. We have to think very carefully on the energy that we're putting out there and where it is that we're exerting our energy in order to actually make improvements in our lives. Now, Venus is going to bump into Chiron in not the nicest way. Let me just say, this is going to make us feel off, make us feel out of whack. Again, when we have a planet shifting out of one energy and into another, that day is usually a little bit off anyways, because we do need a little bit of time to alchemize to that particular energy. But what we got going on here today is we're likely going to feel withdrawn. We're likely going to feel awkward in social situations. There's almost like this need for us to put our guard up because we're unsure about what it is that we're thinking and feeling. We don't know what we're doing right now. There's a little bit of chaos. And so instead of, putting ourselves out there in a state of jitteriness and instability and just seeing what happens, this earth energy that Virgo's now in is just like, you know what? Let's retreat. Let's put the guards up until we can figure things out and step back and just observe the situation. That's what Virgo energy does, and it does it very well. But what starts happening is that we're starting to focus on the wounds because, of course, Chiron's involved. So what wounds we're focused on is the differences or similarities, but mostly differences, because this isn't the best aspect in our relationships, because Venus is very focused on relationships. She wants to fix them. She's in Virgo energy, which means that we have to focus on what is broken in order to come up with a solution to fix it. But we're detached, we're reserved. The fact that the moon is in Capricorn, which is an emotionally detached energy anyways, Capricorn energy doesn't really want to spend a whole lot of time on the emotional front, would rather throw ourselves into practical means of being productive. This can feel a little bit standoffish. We can feel a little bit defensive. We can feel, again, we're feeling very awkward. So when somebody says something to us, we dissect it more than usual. We're like, well, I wonder what they meant about that. Well, did I say something in order for that to happen? We start judging, criticizing, analyzing, very much the Virgo energy. So Venus does this with Chiron, opens up all of these insecurities and doubts and this inner dialogue of us just dissecting every single freaking thing that's going on within us, within our relationships. And then the moon decides to square Mercury. So Mercury is preparing to go retrograde at the end of the week, which means that we are slowing down each and every single day. Mercury is currently in Libran energy, desperately trying to find balance, but we do so through living in extremes. Desperately wants just for peace and harmony to kind of take over and live in the happy-go-lucky, airy realm of fluffiness. Capricorn and Libra energy, typically speaking, are usually on opposite sides of the room. Earth energy, air energy are the furthest elements apart. Capricorn energy really doesn't want to deal with the light and fluffiness. We want to just focus on what needs to be done, get it over with so that we can move on to other things. Of course, the Libran energy doesn't want to do any of that, would rather be social and rather be light and fluffy and playful, and the serious and somberness of this Capricorn energy, we're just not having it. So the moon being our heart space, Mercury being our head space, in the boxing ring, they're fighting it out. We aren't getting along with ourselves here today. And being, Mercury being the ruler of this Virgo energy, we're in Virgo season. Now Venus is in Virgo. We're all up in our headspace. And because we're kind of having emotion detached altogether, we're kind of picking things apart and making our physical bodies feel either anxious or jittery or nervous because nothing is making sense. We're not on the same page. We do not feel comfortable. The moon goes ahead and bumps into Mars. Mars is in Gemini energy. Gemini energy also in air energy. That has a little bit of a hard time getting along with this earth energy. It would be beautiful if we could use our thoughts, our ideas, the internal narrative that we're using to channel that into the physical body, make sense of it, make a plan out of it, add a strategy to it, and actually take action on that. But we're not there yet. We are gifted with an opportunity to take a step forward, either in the mental plane or in our physical realms. Mars, again, being the god of war, the warrior-like spirit, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passions, our desires, really kind of I'm taking his sword and swiping through the challenges, the narrative, the things that aren't working for us in our mental plane in order to actually identify with what it is that we want to pour our mental energy into, what it is we do want to take our physical action and energy out on. And the moon in Capricorn just wants us to get down to business and clean this mess up. And Mars, of course, having a little bit of fire and inspiration, that warrior-like attitude, just wants to cut through the crap of the inner narrative, the conversations that we need to have, the debate back and forth between should I do this, should I do that. We just want to cut through the crap and be able to align with the choice, align with the decision, so that we can actually focus our energy on taking action in that direction. The moon is going to bump into Neptune, luckily in a positive way. This is going to help us out just a tad. We do feel in this Neptune energy, mind you, Neptune is retrograde in Pisces in its place of power. It rules over our higher self, our intuition, our dreams, our creativity. This is a beautiful energy because we get to tap into our creativity, our vision, our dreams, in order to bring it into the physical body, bring it into our emotional heart space here that Capricorn is ruling over, and get real with it. What are practical, logical dreams? What are our goals? Where can we get creative and strategize on how it is that we're going to bring some of these things together? This is like a burst of aha energy, a burst of inspiration, if you will, and we're actually able to do something, be productive with it because of this Capricorn energy, earthing us out, bringing us back down to earth, and actually putting a plan into play in order to actually achieve said dreams, visions, and goals. Now, the moon is going to trine the sun. The trine is a beautiful energy. The moon in Capricorn, the sun in Virgo, it's earth on earth. That's why we get the trine. They're working together. Now, the moon in Capricorn wants to just clean up the mess of the past or the present so we can focus on building towards the future. The sun in Virgo just wants to fix things, just wants to solve some problems. The trine means that emotionally we are identifying some blockages, some problems within us. The sun illuminating where it is that we have to adopt new qualities and characteristics in order to overcome those challenges, or what is quote unquote broken. I want you to think of Virgo energy as the fixer, but the Capricorn energy, being kind of like the general foreman of the zodiac here, needs to kind of pick apart where the problems are at. I don't like this. This should have been done differently. This could have been done better. If we want to get to this goal and actually reach it in a reasonable time frame, we have to cut away that, right? And then the sun in Virgo is over here taking notes and analyzing everything right to death so that we can come up with a good plan on how it is that we're going to resolve some of the issues that we are now being illuminated to in our physical realms. So the true node goes ahead and bumps into Chiron, the wounded healer. The true node is our soul's path, our destiny point, trying to get us on the right path in order to get us to the next level of our mission, of our purpose. Chiron, of course, the wounded healer, highlighting the wounds, but also giving us the wisdom, the knowledge, the resources to heal said wounds. The true node and Chiron interacting in this way is suggesting that we're kind of stepping back and taking stock of a situation before we react. Again, when you act as the observer and take the time out and see, the bigger, greater, grander plan here, you can respond instead of having your ego react. That's what gets us in trouble. Something is popping off here. We just had the moon trine the sun, which means that we're illuminated to what needs to be fixed, what needs improvement, what we need to clean up, what we need to actively work towards if we want to heal and fix a certain situation. Again, all an attempt to make us happy, healthy, and whole. Virgo energy. We're in Virgo season. That's the goal. So the true node interacting with Chiron in this way would suggest that we're taking a step back. We just had some thoughts. We just made some sense within us. And now we're recognizing where it is that we are going to make an effort to examine that wound, to make a solution to fix it. Or we are going to step back and see what it is that we've already healed, what doesn't need our attention anymore, and where we can refocus our energy on the next thing. So this is almost like I'm not going to say a choice point because it's not a choice point. It's a step back to see what our next step should be. The moon is going to help us out by bumping into Mars again, this time in a good aspect. This means that we've identified a goal, an ambition, a dream, a path, a direction, and Mars is ready to take action, ready to move forward, either in conversation, needing to have certain conversations to clear up the space, clear up the air, or identify the direction that we will take. Or actively taking physical action in one choice, one path, one direction over the other that is going to align us with the new dreams and ambitions and goals that we have. We're feeling good about it. We're motivated. We're determined. This is the workhorse energy that we're dealing with between Capricorn and Mars here. This is good. And our mental plane is online because, of course, Mars is in Gemini, the mental plane energy, trying to sort out our thoughts so that we have a clear vision, a clear thought on what it is that we need to pour our time, energy, and attention into. This is when the moon trines the true node. This is a beautiful energy because it means that we have identified the next step forward, the next path, the next direction to take, the next thing that we have to do in order to get one step closer to where it is that we want to be, which of course takes us one step closer away from where it is that we have outgrown. But we do end the day off with this moon energy in Capricorn squaring Chiron at the same time as the moon is trining the true node. So it's almost like, yay, we know the direction that we need to take. We know the step that we need to take. We know the focus that we need to have. And then we're like, oh, damn, this opens up a whole different can of worms on what it is that we need to tackle from here. This exposes us to where it is that fears and doubts and insecurities are going to pop up now that we know what we have to do in order to move forward. Of course, we always have that negative narrative kicking back on us to try and keep us in a state of paralysis in the here and now. So it's like, in the matter of seconds, we have emotionally this aha moment, like, yes, I gain clarity. There's an aha moment. I know what I need to do. I know what direction I need to take. And then in the same breath, it's like, oh, damn, that is really scary. I don't know if I have what it takes in order to actually do all of that. And then thus, we take one step forward emotionally, and then we take two steps back, trying to talk ourselves out of what it is that we know that we need to do. This is essentially where we have to get control over our inner narrative and be very disciplined with what it is that we allow to take up space in our inner narrative, because we do have the potential to totally talk fear into the dreams that we just identified that we need to pursue.